What's good, peeps? Thanks always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. I've just watched the fight again. Great fight. It really was a great fight. Fight of the year, definitely. Especially at the world level, elite level. There might be something better, kind of lower down. But in terms of two sort of world championship, world caliber fighters going at it, I can't think of anything better this year. And I don't think it will be beaten either. I think Canelo Kovalev will surprise some. I think that's going to be a good fight because I think Canelo will win, but I think Kovalev's going to go out on his shield, which is going to be very dangerous and it's going to make for a great fight. But in terms of so far, definitely fight of the year. It's funny, every time I watch sort of fights 135, 140 and particularly 147, especially the world level guys, I don't know why, but it always makes me think of how good Floyd Mayweather was. This ain't even a Floyd Mayweather video. I've just thought of this, by the way. But it makes me feel he was a fucking genius. Honestly, these like world caliber guys, like everyone's extremely high on Errol Spence, rightly so. I mean, I don't think his pride's taken a hit. But I don't know what it is. Floyd just made adjustments. Like I watched some of these so-called world level, elite level guys just do the same thing time and time again. And look, don't get me wrong, they get their job done and fantastic. I see Floyd, or I used to watch Floyd fights, and I sometimes just put them on YouTube when I'm bored. Do you know how many adjustments he makes through fights? Like you think you've got him, and then he just turns it up or just does something different, shows you a new look. I was watching Errol Spence yesterday, or today and yesterday, and I was expecting him to just, I don't know, because everyone is very big on Errol Spence. I was expecting him to just make an adjustment. He made a couple of small ones, but nothing tangible, nothing to separate him from Sean Porter. And it just made me think of Floyd, how Floyd used to make adjustment after adjustment and then just go away. Where you think a fight's close for the first sort of 2-3 rounds, you think, oh, hello, and then adjustment made. Like Shane Mosley, when Shane Mosley cracked him. And it was like, everyone was like, fuck it, and then adjustment made, and Shane Mosley couldn't touch him. Canelo, same thing. You can go on and on and on. I don't know why, just thinking about Floyd, a bit random there, sorry. All right, so Errol Spence, Danny Garcia looks like it's going to be next. Errol Spence didn't fully confirm it at the post-fight press conference, but he did say, look, if he can't get Manny Pacquiao, he actually even mentioned Crawford's name, then I guess by process of elimination, Danny Garcia is the next man up. I know it got some boos by the crowd, right? Crowd weren't happy. They know what they want. The crowd want Terence Crawford. I mean, PBC put out a tweet the other day, which I immediately kind of retweeted and said, that's bullshit. I think they said something like, if Errol Spence wins, then he'll give the fans what they want, which is a Manny Pacquiao fight. I'm fucking sorry. I'm sorry. If you ask a million boxing fans, and I'm talking casual or hardcore here, and say, who would you want to see Spence fight next, Crawford or Pac-Man? I would be astounded if any one of them, so we're talking 1 million, I'd be astounded if any one of them said Pac-Man. We want to see Crawford next. That's what we want to see. And to be honest, in this situation, I'm thoroughly disappointed that Errol Spence, when he had the opportunity yesterday, didn't say, I want Crawford. I'm disappointed. And the reason I'm disappointed is this. Errol Spence thinks he's the number one welterweight in the world. He's got 2 belts around his shoulder. I can understand why he thinks that. A lot of people think Errol Spence is the number one. Other people, and quite a few people, think the number one is Terence Crawford. All right? If I'm Errol Spence, I want to fight the guy that everyone thinks is better than me. I don't want to fight anyone else. I get the money. I understand why people are chasing Pac-Man. I get it. It's a big fight. It could be 8-figure fight. But I would want to fight the guy that everyone thinks could beat me. That's the fight I want. And I don't know if you've been instructed by the powers that be at PBC, not to mention Terence Crawford's name post-fight, but you've got an opportunity, do it. Grab the mic and fucking say, I want to fight Terence Crawford. We've got to make that fight happen. Hopefully Top Rank and Al Heyman and Bob Arum and whatever can get together and do this. Do it. Didn't do it. And then in the post-fight press conference, he briefly mentioned his name, saying something along the lines of, oh, Terence Crawford only done 100,000 pay-per-view. What the fuck has that got to do with you fighting Terence Crawford? I mean, what has that got to do with it? The only reason I guess he would mention that is if it comes to a money thing. Terence Crawford, pound for pound, number 1 or 2, freeweight world champion, unbeaten at 147, is probably going to want 50-50. Maybe even ask for 60-40, right? I think, though, he's going to want 50-50. Errol Spence, two belt holder now, and has done, I guess, decent numbers with Mikey and might be decent numbers with Sean, is going to think he's the A side and want a bit more than 50. That's what's happening right now. So Terence Crawford, if he really wants this fight, might have to kind of, I don't know, heed and take a 70-30 split. He might, right? I do think that Bob and Al have had discussions about it, and I do think it comes down to money. I just think that Terence isn't going to accept anything less than 50-50. And that might be the problem. So we're left with Danny Garcia. I kind of went round and round there. We're left with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is solid. He's a solid operator. I mean, look at the resume. The resume tells me that he's a solid fighter. I do think that his best days were at 140 pounds. I just don't think he's big and strong enough for the guys at 147. I mean, he still can compete, right? I mean, we saw that with Sean Porter, unanimous decision loss, and Keith Thurman, split decision loss. Some people thought he won that. I thought we lost it 7-5. But he definitely can compete. But he's tailor-made for Errol Spence. I mean, tailor-made. Danny Garcia doesn't use his feet and stays in the pocket. Stays in the pocket and will try and trade, right? That's what he does. And he's a slow starter. I mean, Errol Spence is just way too big and strong for Danny Garcia. I mean, Sean Porter moved, right? Sean Porter moved and threw punches in bunches and didn't stop fighting for 12 rounds. Danny Garcia likes to take time off in rounds and isn't as active and simply doesn't move his feet. Go and watch him. Doesn't move his feet, doesn't really move his head. Does have a laser for a right hand. I will say that his right hand, when he throws it, 9 times out of 10 it lands, but just isn't active and mobile enough to cause Errol Spence problems. I think it's a decent-ish fight. I like it because what you get is that all these guys in this era, apart from Terence Crawford, are fighting each other, right? You've got Thurman now that's fought Pac-Man, Porter and Garcia. You got Spence that's fought Brook, Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter. You know what I mean? So they're all mixing it with each other. And you got Danny Garcia that's now fought Thurman. Who's Danny Garcia? Thurman, Porter, and now will fight Spence. So you're getting a lot of these guys in this era that are mixing it with each other. I guess the only problem is Terence Crawford. And I feel thoroughly sick for Terence Crawford. I kid you not, sick to my fucking stomach. I really do. I did a video about him versus Kell Brook. He doesn't want to fight Kell Brook. I tried to make the video sound a lot better than it was, but he doesn't want that. He must be at home watching this. I mean, and it must make him feel sick. He saw Errol versus Mikey and everyone was crazy and excited about that. He saw Thurman versus Pac-Man, everyone crazy and excited about that. And now we've seen Sean versus Errol Spence and he's like, come on. I mean, they're talking fight of the year. He must be at home fucking going crazy. He must be on the phone to his manager and to Bob screaming. He must be screaming that why am I not in this mix, right? Because again, I said this before about Terence Crawford. The resume isn't thick. The resume isn't thick. And you got Thurman that's got a better resume now. This is fact now. Danny Garcia's resume is a bit thicker. Sean Porter's resume is thicker. Errol now has got Brook. Errol's got Brook, Sean Porter and Mikey on there. And even Lamont Peterson. And there's Terence Crawford, whose resume, it's just disappointing. But yeah, we are going to see Danny versus Errol next. Terence Crawford's obviously got his mandatory. This wasn't even a Terence Crawford video, but it's making my blood boil that this guy is not even in the mix. It's making my fucking blood boil. And I don't know how he's going to get in the mix. I really don't. Again, the same thing happened with Pac-Man years ago. Same thing happened. Hence why Pac-Man had to fight fucking Bradley and Marquez like 100 million times. The same thing's happening now with Terence Crawford. But unfortunately, there is no Marquez and there is no Bradley. And he's left over there fucking fighting nobodies. Nobodies. Jeff Horn. Oh, God. Who was that guy as well that he fought that was quite good? I can't believe it. After Jeff Horn, I can't remember his name. Amir Khan. I don't even know the guy's name for a mandatory. Oh, it's disappointing. Disappointing. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know. Peace.